I'm Jody Avergan. Have you heard of Blue Apron? Well, now you have. Blue Apron's mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone. The country's #1 fresh ingredient and recipe service, fresh, high-quality ingredients make the difference, so it's important to know where your food comes from. Plus, it's affordable, easy, and full of surprises. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping. You will love how good it tastes and feels to create home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. Go to blueapron.com/30 for 30.
Tonight on SportsCenter at 6. Looks like he's got that old swing back. We'll break down Tiger's strong second-round action from the Bahamas. And Jimbo Fisher out at Florida State and in at Texas A&M with the richest contract in college football history. We've got the latest. And it's win and you're in for the CFP Top 4 this weekend. Who has the most at stake? Jesse Palmer weighs in. Plus, don't miss the reigning Heisman Trophy winner Lamar Jackson live with Marty Smith.
He's like Benjamin Button.
And now, Michael Smith and Jemele Hill.
And the crowd goes wild. Aquí tu seis. See, we're a little bilingual here. Coming up, the lovable Taylor Twellman breaks down the World Cup draw. And just when you think things couldn't get more dramatic at Tennessee, the Vols ousted their athletic director. We'll have the latest on that dumpster fire. But first, let's discuss Jimbo securing the bag.
All you young aspiring journalists out there, this is what you call intrepid reporting, at least in 2017. Tallahassee Democrat reporter Wayne McGahee III tweeted this photo Friday of Jimbo Fisher's discarded Christmas tree. We haven't put ours up yet at my house. That's what I'm doing this weekend. Then I'll go to Bed Bath & Beyond, then Home Depot, buy some wallpaper.
Okay.
Anyway, sure enough, not long after that tweet, McGahee reported that Fisher was leaving FSU and headed, as rumored, to a new gig at Texas A&M. 10 years, $75 million, richest deal in terms of total value in the sports history. Second highest average after Saban. Hello, security! Merry Christmas! Meanwhile, Jimbo being in limbo cost the Noles a few recruits. Now, whether it was about staff changes or updating facilities, maybe 11 years is a pretty good time to get out these days. I always say, Jemele, it's better to get out before they get you up out of the paint. It goes for everybody.
My 11th year.
Plus, his boy Scott Woodward is A&M's AD. But friendship aside, Woodward is clear that he wants Fisher to go about the business of bringing College Station its first national title since 1939. Then you got DeAndre Francois. It's like, damn, even Richie called Barbara to tell him he was leaving up for Sunshine. Hey, it's your daddy. Put your mom on the phone. Barbara, it's Richie. Yeah, I ain't never coming home no more. Take it easy.
Well done, Michael Smith. Joining us now, Mark Schleybar. A lot of drama here. So, Mark, tell us, was this more about Jimbo Fisher and Florida State being seemingly fed up with one another more than, say, Jimbo seizing an opportunity at Texas A&M?
Jemele, I think it's more about Jimbo seizing $75 million. I mean, if somebody's coming at you with a 10-year, $75 million contract, there aren't many coaches out there turning it down. But, you know, he'd been at Florida State for 8 years. I think his act had worn a little thin, and I think he was tired of butting heads with Florida State administrators over facilities and coaching contracts and things like that. But, again, this is the richest contract in the sports history, as Michael said, and you know, it's a new challenge. He's going to be in the SEC West, which is arguably the toughest division in college football. He's going to butt heads now with Nick Saban, his former boss, and try to become the first former assistant coach, to beat Saban. All
right, so A&M got their man, so let's talk about the Florida State side of things. In the last 40 seasons, Florida State has won more national titles than it's had head coaches. Bobby Bowden, Jimbo Fisher brought championships to Tallahassee in 93, 99, and 2013, and no other school in the country can match their turnover rate, as every other current Power 5 program has gone through at least 3 coaches in that span. Mark, you told us yesterday that Florida State is looking to hire a minority coach. Now, Willie Taggart's name has emerged as their top candidate, but is there a particular reason FSU is specifically looking for a person of color?
No, I was just told that, you know, that they would like to target one if possible. Stan Wilcox, their AD, is interested in hiring the first African-American football coach in Florida State history. Taggart is qualified. He's a Bradenton, Florida native. He's a former head coach at South Florida, has a really good track record of recruiting kids in Florida. I think he's someone that Florida State fans would be happy with. He's only been at Oregon for 1 year. The Ducks have offered him a contract extension. I think he's at the top of the list. I think Virginia Tech's Justin Fuente, USF's Charlie Strong, and maybe even Kevin Sumlin could be in the mix. I think Sumlin, it would be a very viable candidate. Just not sure Florida State wants to trade coaches with the school that just stole theirs.
That would add a layer of intrigue, as they say. Thanks a lot, Mark. We appreciate you joining us. All right, just when you think things couldn't get any more ridiculous at Tennessee, the Vols fired athletic director John Currie after he met with Mike Leach and reportedly agreed to terms with Leach for him to be their next football coach. Currie is being replaced by former Tennessee coach Phil Fulmer, who spoke to the media a short time ago.
Apparently, John Currie was working out a deal with Mike Leach, who's one of the best coaches in the country. Why wouldn't you at least give him a chance to make that work?
I want to be clear today that we're here to talk about the change in the leadership in the athletics department. I'm not going to talk about coaches at any other schools or at any other places.
We first must find us a coach who wants to be at Tennessee, who appreciates the unique opportunity that we have to offer at this very special place at this historical time, and who is driven to win at the highest level of college football.
Chris Lowe's here with the lowdown. Looked like the Vols were in position to rebound nicely with Mike Leach until they changed the game with Phil Fulmer. So how are frustrated Vols fans, I beg your pardon, receiving this development? And any idea who's on Phil Fulmer's list for UT's fifth head coach in 11 years?
Yeah, Mike, really for the first time in a week, Tennessee fans feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel. They got one of their own, Philip Fulmer, back running the show, and his ability to get indoors with head football coaches, maybe bring back some of the Tennessee family and take a Tennessee family that's been fractured and put it back together. So I think that's the thing when you look at this coaching search and how disastrous it's been. Most Tennessee fans I've talked to today are pretty excited about it. I think you're going to see Philip Fulmer talk to T. Martin, former quarterback at Tennessee, now at USC as offensive coordinator. Kevin Steele, Auburn's defensive coordinator, who's done a terrific job and is also a Tennessee grad. There'll be others as well. And that's the thing about having Fulmer back in play. He'll be in New York this next week for the coaches or the Hall of Fame, the coaches convention. There'll be a ton of coaches up there that he'll be able to talk to. And again, with his reputation, the fact he knows so many people, I think there are going to be people that will listen to him that maybe previously were not in play at Tennessee.
All right, Chris, thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate it. All right, now on to the course. Second round of the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas. Tournament host Tiger Woods 3 back after shooting 69 on Thursday. Now Tiger looking to get off to a strong start. Second shot on 1, 96 yards out. Hits the sand wedge there and drops it in just a couple feet from the hole. He would birdie the hole and get 4 under for the tournament. Happy learned how to putt. Uh-oh.
And after a birdie on 3, second shot on 4. Drops it a few feet from the hole again with birdie and get a share of the lead at 6 under.
Now we'll go on to the 9th hole. Now on 9, sitting at 6 under. Second shot from the fairway from 271 out. 3-wood, rips it. Puts it right on the green.
He's got that look in his eye.
He's got that look. He'll be putting for eagle and the lead from 15 feet out. You know what happens here? Tiger sinks it. And he's got the lead. Feeling the flow, doing the bull dance.
The crowd loving it as much as I'm loving your references there.
Yeah, hey, anytime you get a Happy Gilmore in there, you do it.
All right, outright lead through 9 holes at 8 under after going out at a 5 under 31. Now on to 11. Still 8 under, third shot off the green. Chip looks like it's going in, but it curves at the last minute. That's when you got everything going. Thinks he has it, but of course he's able to birdie the hole because it was that kind of day.
Yeah, it was. Now 8 under after a bogey at 12. Now teeing off there at 18. He loses this one right. Lands in the gallery. Hopefully didn't hit anybody with a nail in his head. The ball will plug in the sand, and he would bogey that hole. Tiger shoots 1 over on the back 9, 7 under through 2 rounds, and tied for 5th. So Tiger goes 4 under on the day. He's now 7 under for the tournament. That puts him tied for 5th, along with some of the best players in the world, including Hideki Matsuyama and Ricky Fowler. Charlie Hoffman is your 36-hole leader at 12 under with Jordan Spieth and Tommy Fleetwood, 3 strokes back. Now, when Westgate initially released their Masters odds, Tiger was a 100-1 long shot. But yesterday morning, before the Hero World Challenge began, he was up to 50-1. Lay the money, folks. He then jumped to 25-1 after a 3 under 69 on Thursday. And after 9 more holes today, he was 15-1. Here's Tiger on his day.
You know, I think it was successful because I went out there and shot 31 on that front 9. You know, I built upon what I did yesterday. I cleaned it up, Only thing I really struggled today was speed of the greens. As I told you guys earlier in this week, didn't know what to expect because I hadn't played, I hadn't competed, I haven't had a fuse back before in my life. These are all new things. And as you can see that even with the fuse back, I still have some speed out there. And these are all things I've had to learn and will continue to learn. This is a new body that I'm getting used to.
Do you feel like you can win?
See, I blame you, Michael Collins.
This is your fault.
You got everybody hyped right here on this show yesterday and throughout the day. We doing this again, huh?
I'm sorry.
It was like, hey, temper expectations. 2 rounds in, 1 shot better than he was Friday last year, and 15-1 to win the Masters, man. Come on. Really? We're going to do this again.
Hey, what you want me to do? We got to the 9th hole when he made that eagle putt. I told you I was trying to temper expectations. That eagle putt goes in. His name goes to the top of the leaderboard, and the whole world, social media and everybody was doing the same thing. Oh, here we go again. Ooh, feeling it. You can't help it. You can't help it. Even though now, you got to remember, after round 1, he was only 3 shots back in the lead. He's now 5 shots back in the lead, and you think anybody cares? Nope.
What's different about him, though, seriously, this year?
This whole comeback is so much different than the other two because he looks so much different with the way that he walks and acts on the golf course. Even, you just saw when I asked him, you think you can win? And he just looked at me and goes, what do you think? And laughs about it and stuff. The Tiger Woods that was hurt before and was trying to say he was healthy, he never acted like that. This Tiger Woods is the same dude that was winning tournaments and tournaments and tournaments. Now, he's still not 100%, which is why he's 5 shots back. But just seeing this Tiger Woods out, man, how you not be excited? A little bit. Even the haters would be like, I'm glad I can hate him still.
Nobody's hating. I just hate to see y'all get y'all mouth all watered up for some hash. Right. Get excited when he's yet to so much as complete majors recently.
Well, he just gonna leave y'all a swallow of oranges
before you start talking about him being one of the contenders at Augusta. That's all.
Remember, the success for Tiger Woods this week is him playing 4 rounds.
Absolutely.
So just seeing him play at this level. How you not? This is why everybody's excited. The fact that he touched the leaderboard, that's why people went crazy.
All right, Michael Collins, continue to enjoy the Bahamas.
Things actually happened to Michael Collins. How does he? Never mind.
I know.
It's been a while since a certain someone's TV side piece wedged his way into the show.
Don't hate.
Taylor Twellman can replace me if y'all want. Please just say the word. No need to mess around with it. Just do it expeditiously, okay? 8 wins, 12 losses, all as Vegas favorites. 3 in a row, 9th in the West. And would you believe OKC's offense is actually 2 points per 100 possessions worse than last season? New look Thunder, same old problems. They neither pass nor move enough without the basketball. Melo says they aren't concerned. They're angry. Pretty sure they'd just be relieved to get a win tonight against the Wolves.
Now, Royce Young, as Mike mentioned, and that was a stat you got from Stats and Info, I assume, the Thunder offense.
No, I actually looked it up myself.
Sure you did. The Thunder offense.
Actually, I got it from Royce. I got it from your article.
Okay.
I think you pointed that out.
Okay, fine. We're stealing a little bit, but the point remains. Their offense is worse than it was last year, which is stunning when you consider the fact that they're infinitely more talented. So which of OKC's big 3, be it Melo, Russ, Paul George, needs to adjust their game the most in order to make this work?
The short answer, Jemele, is Carmelo Anthony, and I think that often is something that people it's the low-hanging fruit. Everybody's been saying it for a number of years, especially as Carmelo's aged in the NBA, that he's got to adjust his game. He's got to move to the 4. He's got to move the ball more. But really, when you listen to Billy Donovan talk and when he addresses the issues going on right now on the floor for the Thunder, it kind of feels like a subtweet of Carmelo Anthony. He talks about player movement. He talks about ball movement. He talks about too much isolation. One thing that he likes to talk about a lot is non-paint contested 2s, which is a staple of Carmelo Anthony's games. But the longer answer, of course, is that it's all 3. There's also the fact that Russell Westbrook is heavily adjusting his game. He's taking fewer mid-range shots than he has at any point in his career, because this is all kind of a transformation these 3 guys are going through to learn how to play with one another. But, Billy Donovan has talked about habits, and within those habits, he's trying to break what these 3 guys are so used to doing throughout their entire career, which is feeling the pressure and feeling the responsibility to take the game over at times on their own, not trusting the extra pass, not trusting the hockey assist. And that's really what's trying to happen here, and you're seeing how miserable it can be for the Thunder on the court. But something Carmelo said, Jemele, earlier in the season was he wanted to see what it looked like after 20 games. He'd start judging this team after 20 games. Well, tonight against the Timberwolves, game 21.
Well, the first 20 games, they haven't looked that great, so I'd be curious to know what his thoughts are after tonight, especially if they don't win. Thanks a lot, Royce. We appreciate you joining us. All right, the World Cup draw was completed this morning. 32 competing countries slotted into 8 groups, and a whole lot of people complaining that there's no obvious group of death, though some might argue that Mexico's group with Sweden, Germany, and South Korea is fairly challenging. Anyway, the 48-game first round begins June 14th, and Russia, for what it's worth, 538 Soccer Power Index, has 10 teams with at least a 70% chance of advancing into the round of 16. Here's a closer look at the 8 groups in the 2018 World Cup. Host favorite Russia is a heavy favorite to advance out of Group A. Must resist making a joke. While Spain and Portugal are the top 2 teams in Group B. France is in the favorite in Group C, or is the favorite rather, with Messi and Argentina are in Group D. Groups E and F feature the SBI favorites, and Vegas' favorite to win it all, Brazil and Germany. Now, rounding out the top teams in the World Cup are Belgium and England in Group G and Colombia in Group H. Now let's go to the incredibly talented, supremely talented Taylor Twellman to break down this draw even further.
Jemele, I think when you look at it, 2 things stand out to me. First and foremost, how many easy groups there are. When you look at the host nation, shocking, right, that they've got an easy group. You look at France, England. Traditionally, England always has an excuse. There's no excuse with their group and their draw. They should be very pleased at that. And even Brazil, to a certain extent. There are a lot of easy groups. So the big nations, the traditional nations, they should get through. But whenever the World Cup comes around, the biggest discussion is about the stars. This is the last time, in my opinion, we'll see Messi in his prime. And the biggest topic of conversation is, will he ever win a major trophy for his country? The best players in the world, including Ronaldo, in the history of the game, he won one. Messi hasn't. And if I had to pick the most difficult group out of this draw, I would actually say it is Messi's group. Argentina is heavily favored to get out of it, but Nigeria, Croatia, and even Iceland, that makes it the most balanced group. But the biggest question over the next 6 months is, will Messi ever win a major trophy for Argentina to put his name next to Diego Maradona, Pelé, Franz Beckenbauer, and even Johan Cruyff? This is the biggest talking point, I think, of the World Cup in Russia next summer.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I've never felt more alive.
Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will feel more alive. You either possess functioning respiratory and circulatory systems, or you do not, or you are a zombie. If you are indeed a brain-starved zombie and you would like to save money on car insurance, the Geico legal team applauds your excellent life choices, even in your shambling afterlife. But we strongly encourage you to visit geico.com or download the Geico app. Please stay a minimum of 500 feet away from our large and presumably delicious, delicious brains.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
All right, now Stanford and USC will get championship weekend started in about an hour or so, but that's just the appetizer for the bigger meals to come. Number 1 Clemson takes on number 7 Miami as the Tigers look to secure their 3rd straight trip to the college football playoff. Meanwhile, Miami seeking its first conference title since 2003, back when the Canes were with the Big East. Now, to preview such a big game, we decided to bring in a real big-time expert. And Marty Marr, I wasn't talking about you.
I know how to have a good time, although, Jemele, we're here at the ACC Legends Dinner. I'm going to MC that in just a little while. This is highfalutin now. This is a real deal out here, Lamar. I got my guy, Lamar Jackson, reigning Heisman Trophy winner. Now, I want to present this without comment before I get to Lamar. My man won the Heisman, and he has more passing yards, more completions, a better completion percentage, more yards per carry, more total yards, and more total offense per game than he had last year. Yes, sir. Not bad, young man. So I ask you, how would you compare your performance this year to what you did last year when you won the Heisman?
Oh, well, during the offseason, Coach drilled in my head, we need to complete more passes and stuff like that. Last year I used to just look at the one receiver, something like that, just take off running with the ball. This year I just sat in the pocket a lot more, just close my shoulder. He always yelled at my head in practice. Close your shoulder when I'm throwing to the far side of the field, complete the ball to my receiver. And that's a lot of things there's a lot more things I worked on, but I don't want to talk about it right now.
Don't be giving up your secrets, man.
I can't give it up right now.
What comes with winning the Heisman that we don't see?
You just got to be humble about it. You can't just be out there wanting to win. That you got to be having bigger goals like national championship and stuff like that. Then things like that might come to you.
All right. I'm going to have to ask you about the question now, baby. Heisman Trophy, you're a contender again this year, had a tremendous year. Where are you in the process of deciding whether you want to stay in school or take it to the league?
Oh, probably after the bowl game. I'll probably decide then, but right now I'm focused on the bowl game.
All right, where are you leaning?
I don't know.
You don't have to answer that, man. I appreciate your time. My man Lamar is the Offensive Player of the Year in the ACC this year, putting up them crazy numbers. Proud of you, man. Thanks for your time.
Guys, shook you like you in the hole, Marty.
I was about to say, man, nice juke move, Lamar, right there. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, he had the shimmy going.
Had a premature explosion of words. Each of the top 4 teams in this week's college football playoff ranking will play in a conference championship game tomorrow, beginning with Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game at 12:30 Eastern, and ending with the ACC and Big 10 championship games at 8 o'clock.
Like nothing
Eastern.
Getting accomplished.
No, tomorrow's done.
Yeah.
I already know what that's about.
All right. Meanwhile, Ohio State's Coach Urban Meyer, he says he will make a game day decision on whether J.T. Barrett starts and how much he plays in the Big Ten title game against Wisconsin. He confirmed that the senior underwent arthroscopic knee surgery on Sunday. He says it's a very delicate situation, and of course they have redshirt freshman Dwayne Haskins waiting in the wings, waiting eagerly to preview this weekend our own Jesse Palmer. So when I look at these conference title games, with all due respect to, it's just great competition.
Awesome.
And all due respect to a team that a lot of people think deserves to be the number 1 ranked team, and certainly one that nobody wants to see right now, Auburn. I think they probably, if I had to pick one, most likely to lose this weekend. Look, beating Georgia at home, Alabama at home, and then going to Atlanta and beating Georgia again, that's a tall order. No disrespect to Auburn, but that would be something. Give them a Lombardi trophy if they beat those 3 teams and win those 3 games in the 4 weeks.
They beat Georgia 40-17.
I hear you.
They just beat Alabama.
I'm not saying they're not good.
And I agree with you.
Oh, okay.
Way to build that up.
I actually think they're the team in the top 4 right now most likely to lose this weekend. People at home think we're nuts, but there's a massive wild card here. Kerryon Johnson at running back might not play in this game because of that shoulder injury that we saw against Alabama. And guys, he's not only their best offensive player, this guy should be a Heisman finalist in my opinion. And in that first game against Georgia, he was a workhorse. He carried the ball 32 times, also led the offense in receiving. And he brings a real physicality to this offense as well. He can run between the tackles. He breaks tackles, really finds those hidden yards. If he can't go, Cam Martin has to go at running back. I think is very talented. He's only 5'9", 182. Can't do a lot of the same things they like to do on offense with Cam Martin. Of course, that first game was at Jordan-Hare Stadium. The fact that it's now at Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta, I think gives Georgia a much better chance, especially if Kerryon Johnson can't go.
For me, it's Ohio State. They're favored over the Badgers. Obviously, we know there's a serious injury situation with J.T. Barrett. And look, I know redshirt freshman Dwayne Haskins looked pretty good in relief against Michigan, but I think J.T. Barrett for this kind of game is the type of guy that they need. And not to mention, look, we've been disrespecting Wisconsin for weeks.
Who's we?
Oh, really? Really? We, the people out there. Some people have been disrespecting Wisconsin. And if you look at their history in the Big Ten championship game, whenever they've been an underdog, it's kind of boded well for them. So I think they're going to come into this game with a chip on their shoulder. Ohio State being a little bit weakened if they do have J.T. Barrett, because he may not be at full strength. I think this is a perfect setup game for them to go ahead and play their way into the Final Four.
Isn't it amazing that Wisconsin is not the favorite in that game?
I know.
No, really. I mean, everyone always wants to talk about the resume, who have they played, but they've looked so dominant now in their last 3 times out against some pretty good teams in Iowa and Michigan this past week against Minnesota, too. And just, it's one of the best defenses in the country, period. Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs in the country, period. Alex Hornibrook's playing so well at quarterback. So it's surprising to me the Badgers aren't.
You know what's the ultimate sign of disrespect is you have people, not going to say no names, but you have people saying that even if Wisconsin wins, they don't belong in the top 4. Yeah. But if Ohio State were to win, how many people standing on the table for Ohio State?
A ton.
If they beat Wisconsin.
Lots. All right, let's talk about this Pac-12, or the Pac-12 championship game tonight, rather, at 8 Eastern on ESPN between number 12 Stanford, number 10 USC. Trojans, they rolled over Stanford September 9th. Sam Darnold threw for 300 yards, had 4 touchdowns. Now, tonight will likely be, or a lot of people believe it'll be his last game as he projects to go high in the NFL draft. Now, Jesse, given not just with the draft status, but I think there has been some doubts about Sam Darnold because his performance this season been a little more up and down, a little more inconsistent, though he's kind of leveled out some. How significant is this game for him personally?
Huge game. And this is a championship game. It's a conference championship game, and it's on a national stage. So I think this game is big for him, for his legacy at USC, winning a Pac-12 championship, but also obviously for his NFL draft stock. And that's really why a lot of eyeballs are in on this game tonight as well. And you mentioned it earlier. Nobody denies Sam Darnold's talent throwing the football. The issue has been the turnovers, and he has 19 this year, which leads the FBS. Good news, though, he's been trending in the right direction now in the last 4 games. He's had 1 or fewer turnovers in each of the last 4 games. That's the good news. Now, what you have to understand, Stanford's defense, this isn't the same dominant Stanford defense we were seeing when they were winning Pac-12 championships and going on to play in Rose Bowls and Fiesta Bowls. This defense isn't as physical up front. They don't have the same pass rush. So I expect Sam Darnold to play at a very, very high level tonight. We'll have to find out what happens.
And what's Stanford, plus 14 turnover margin, something like that this year?
Yeah, they're very, very good at taking the ball away.
You're very good at analysis. Just in case you didn't know
that.
All right.
We're just showering each other with compliments.
Don't make it weird, Mike.
Can you imagine a more pivotal week as it relates to the NFC playoff picture? Week 13 features 6 of the 7 teams competing for playoff spots, going head-to-head. Vikings in Atlanta, Panthers in New Orleans, Eagles in Seattle on Sunday Night Football. Okay, we talked about Saturday. What's getting done Sunday, as usual? Let's hone in on one of those matchups, Vikings at Falcons. Good news for Atlanta is the Falcons get Devontae Freeman back from missing 2 games with a concussion. Bad news, cornerback Desmond Trufant out with a concussion. A lot of folks who are out on the Falcons and taking every opportunity to get in a 28-3 joke when Atlanta was losing leads in 3 of 4 games. But here they are, winners of 3 straight, and at 7-4, a game back in the South. Teddy Bruschi, Mike Zimmer said that facing the defending NFC champs is going to be, quote-unquote, a great test. Everybody talks about the Eagles, Vikings, Rams, Saints, Panthers, even the Seahawks in the NFC. But are people, if this is possible, actually sleeping on the defending NFC champs, Falcons, just a little bit?
Yeah, I'd say so, especially since, you've got to understand the mental strain it had to be at the beginning of the year, getting used to a new offensive coordinator and still getting over that Super Bowl. I don't care what they said about moving on from it. I lost the Super Bowl when we were 18-0. Right, it was so hard to think about it that next season, to not think about it that next season, the entire offseason. When you lose a certain way, the way that they lost, it was hard to put it behind them. So absolutely, now that they've gotten their stride, yes, we can lose. Yes, we can come back from losing a couple and then form another streak again. Our quarterback we can get used to this offensive coordinator and our young defense. We can hit its stride again. Here we go. We got all that behind us now. We know how to deal with adversity. Let's start playing. So you really need to respect that Falcon team, I think.
Yeah,
you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that, all right. But I do think it's helped them a little bit, the fact that you have the Rams and Eagles, they've been surging. And so to some degree, crazily enough, I think that's taken a little bit of pressure off of Atlanta, because all of a sudden they aren't the pretty ones in the NFC.
Everybody's a lot of exciting new stories in the NFC.
Yeah, they're flying under the radar a little bit. Speaking of which, Case Keenum, your boy, right? So Mike Zimmer seems to keep dangling the starting quarterback job in front of him, taking this as a week-to-week thing.
He's Offensive Player of the Month in his week.
Right. I don't have a problem with it personally. Now, do you consider this kind of baffling on Mike Zimmer's part, or is this just kind of a strategy to keep Case Keenum hungry, keep him humble?
Yeah, you don't mess with that. Yeah. You don't mess with any type of streak, any type of momentum that's going on, any type of replacement player that comes in and is doing well, and all of a sudden you come back just because you're healthy now. But wait a second. Not only is he keeping Keenum focused, all right, and on his job, but he's also sending a message to his entire team. You play better than him, and you get that starting job for any way, and you play a certain way for a couple weeks, you can hold on to it. So keep working as your depth. It'll help you develop your depth. If your depth believes that if you go down and I go in and I'm playing well, I'm going to stay in. So it's an entire team message, I think, that you send by not just saying, okay, Teddy B's back, there you go, put him in. Case Keenum, you're out. No, you're playing well, you're the guy.
We focused on Xavier Rhodes versus Julio Jones. That's going to be fun to watch.
Keep a camera on them.
Exactly.
It's going to be fun. Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, guys.
Donovan Mitchell, he went for 24 and, as usual, went hard in the paint. So did Austin Rivers on his behalf. Called him the best rookie besides Ben Simmons. Give it up for the short end of Jazz. 3-0 this week with Mitchell leading the way. Bam! Tiger Woods doing his thing in the Bahamas, following up his first round 69. Another impressive round at the Hero World Challenge. 9th hole, 3-wood, 271 out, catches it perfectly, reaches the par 5 and 2. It struggles with the par 5s in round 1. Set up an eagle putt from about 15 feet. Drops it for eagle. and takes the outright lead at 9 under. Went out in 31, and people went crazy. The odds just they went to 15-1. It's unbelievable. He would shoot one over on the back nine to finish with the 4 under 68. He's 7 under for the tournament, 5 shots back of
Lay the tuition on it, folks. Do it.
As I mentioned, when Westgate initially released their Masters odds, Tiger 100-1 long shot. Yesterday morning, before the Hero World Challenge began, he was up to 50-1.
Put 20 on it.
25-1 after that 69 on Thursday. 9 holes today got him to 15-1. 4 players in the field for Augusta have better odds than that. Scott Van Pelt. Let's just enjoy it for what it is and not try to project.
See, he's trying to steal our joy right now.
To ourselves?
Because we remember how fun it was, I think, and it was amazing to see what happened in real time as this is happening, because it's a Friday, maybe people are at work, they don't necessarily have access to a television or whatever, but people realize, wait, he's doing it again.
I thought I heard you yelling from across campus.
Man, I was lucky enough. My whole career in this industry is because I was at the Golf Channel when this guy came onto the scene. So am I allowed to root for him to be good again? I don't care if I'm allowed to or not. I'm going to root for him to be good again because we live for content, and rarely has there been content like Tiger. And so, does this event matter in the grand scheme? It does not. But when a player that was down there told me before the event started, if he stays healthy, he will win this year, I was like, hold on, what?
Whoa.
I said,
what?
Win this year, not this event. He said if he stays healthy, he'll win this year. And I said, he looks that good. He said once he knocks the rust off, like he's got game. It's there. And this is the first time since he's fused his back together that he's been relatively healthy. So look, baby steps. Finish an event, hopefully be pain-free. This event doesn't matter in the grand scheme, but you see the way that those odds are plummeting. The bookmakers don't want to have this type of exposure. If he's right and goes to Augusta, they don't want to lose their shirts.
Well, everybody talks about the health being one different aspect and why this comeback feels a little different. Anything else you can see about why you think this will be maybe different for him than the other comebacks we've seen?
What's fascinating is that he's an underdog, which you'd have won every dollar I had in 2000 if you sold me a story that involved him someday being this comeback, scrappy underdog story. And I think what's different is the health that we talk about, and he mentions his kids like he's the YouTube golfer. His kids never saw it, and I think that as a dad now, the idea that his kids could be old enough to see him be that guy again. Maybe not that guy, but just a guy again out there. I think that I know how much his kids mean to him, as they mean to every parent. Yeah. He's not unique in that sense, but he's unique in the sense that he's the father that was Tiger Woods, and he still is Tiger Woods. Yeah. So I think he'd love to show him what Dad could do.
Obviously, one of the most mentally tough athletes we've ever seen. So he comes in with low expectations. Now everybody's expectations are out of whack. It'll be interesting to see how he handles the expectations that he's going to end up placing on himself. So
I think. And we didn't speak specifically other than I just said, hey, man, have fun.
Yeah.
Right. And
you talked to him recently?
We trade notes from time to time. Yeah. And I don't want to.
Kids call them texts.
You know how we do. I didn't want to fill his head with any nonsense about any speeches, because who am I to give him one? I think his expectation was to go compete. I mean, that's been his fallback forever. He just wants to compete. He wants to go do that. If he does that, that's enough for this week. Once we get to the real, the season, then he'll worry about winning.
All right, so the Clippers, they fell to the Jazz, having their 3-game win streak snapped. Now, Austin Rivers, he snapped on a fan, even though he did have a team high.
Sometimes you just say
25 points. Yeah, sometimes, look, today ain't the day and I ain't the one. Sometimes you got to tell people that. You're like, hey, listen, man.
I don't know Austin, he doesn't know me, but for it to get to that point where we just caught it,
right?
It had to be going on for a while. And everybody that says,
he apologized, by the way.
Yeah, but everybody says walk away from a beat a bigger person. You ain't dealing with it.
Yeah. I mean, he also apologized because it was the wrong fan, too. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's me. MLB released an interview with Ohtani, Deputy Sensation Ohtani, who was posted today, by the way. They conducted it in February. They asked him, what cities are you curious to see? And Ohtani replied, the Rocky Balboa statue. He said, I want a picture of that. And the reporter replied, well, Philly has a baseball team, And Ohtani said, no, I just want to visit there. So, as I mentioned, more importantly, his team has received the go-ahead to post. The window to negotiate big league clubs expires at 11:59 on December 22nd. But I've never seen the Rocky Balboa statue.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to see it.
Yeah, that's a time-honored tradition in Philly. All right, Ben McAdoo met with the media today. Had some interesting things to say about how he handled the Eli Manning situation.
We were on the same page with how it was going to be handled.
John didn't seem like he was on the same page, though, with what he said to us.
We were on the same page.
John said that Jerry told him that you and Jerry had discussed this plan, I guess, before John went to Jerry. When did you guys start discussing this?
We were on the same page. I was honest. I was upfront with Eli, and I don't have any regrets with the way it was handled.
No regrets, huh?
Yep. Not a single letter?
Not one letter? What you expect him to say?
I don't know.
If he said, I regret, yeah, it should have been handled better, then why'd you do it?
Right.
You know, so.
Look, bottom line is, like, while they may not have been anticipating the reaction right until he's probably out of there, they might not have been anticipating the reaction, but look, they were all convicted to do something. They wanted Eli to sit in the story, right? In the file.
They should have known that he was not going to go along with that.
They should have known this would be more about Geno Smith,
quarterback.
if anything.
So that's the latest message painted on the rock in Knoxville. Welcome to the
funny.
Tennessee Browns. But here's the thing: the Browns at least hire coaches.
Ooh.
I mean, then they fire them.
That's true.
You know. So, who else is in the running? Why not?
Be a hell of a motivator.
Go ahead, hit him with it.
I was gonna say you should have a play called "Woo!" right if he was. Now you know it's bad if Ric Flair is jumping into this. That's how much a debacle this has come.
I got excited with Mike Leach this morning. Like, that'd have been a hell of a rebound.
It would have been. All right, so the Jimbo Fisher craziness. This is how crazy it got. My man put out his Christmas tree, threw it out on the front lawn. Somebody snapped a photo. And it just kind of
telltale sign. Forget watching planes,
right?
Tail numbers.
He's like, this is how you know somebody's really done.
Yeah.
They put out the Christmas tree, throw it in the trash
on December 1st.
On December 1st,
Yeah,
like I'm out of here. Like, okay,
reported right there.
It was. What was hilarious to me is a reporter who got this. Last name was McGahee, Florida State. I know he went to Miami, but. It was something kind of funny about the signature.
Yeah, that's on the docket for us this weekend, putting up our Christmas tree. My kids want me to put up lights. I'm like, nah.
Well, outdoors?
No, outside the house.
Like that mansion you got?
No wall for me. What we call it a day. Who had a good day?
All right, it was a good day, or good night for Dez Bryant. Significant milestone here. He caught a 72nd touchdown pass in a win over Washington, which allows him to pass Hall of Famer Bob Hayes for the franchise record.
It's a big deal in that franchise.
It is a huge deal.
It's unbelievable. And today, 15th anniversary. We talked about Falcons, Vikings earlier. It's the 15th anniversary
I remember
of that insane 46-yard run. Go, Mike Vick, go! He had 173 yards rushing and passing in that.
I know.
Singular talent. That's it for the 6. SportsCenter continues on ESPN2. College football countdown next, followed by the Pac-12 championship. We'll see y'all Monday on E2. See y'all.
Hey girl, have you done something new with your scales? Using new moisturizer? Nice. It really brings out the hazel in your eyes. Oh, hold on. Are you using whitening strips too? Your fangs look good, girl. Really good.
A really charming snake charmer? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Wait, what? Have you been doing Pilates too?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.